Have you ever heard the term publish or perish? It's still very much the law of the land in academe, but it's become more complicated with promotion and tenure committees no longer just wanting to know if a scholar has been published. They also want to know the impact of the scholar's publications. Let's see how savvy scholars team up with librarians who help them navigate this new publish, impact, or perish landscape. Once upon a time, a newly minted PhD secured a tenure-track position at a prestigious institution of higher education. We won't be too specific about her field of study because scholars in all fields are under the gun to publish, impact, or perish. The new assistant professor was very excited, but also a little nervous. 1 year later, she asked her colleagues where they thought she should publish her first journal article. "Publish in the exclusive journal of scientific endeavor," said one full professor. No, that one's out of date," said another full professor. "Publish in the top-notch journal of scientific inquiry." A third professor advised her, anyone in our field is publishing in the boutique narrow subfield scientific journal. What was our newly minted PhD turned young assistant professor to do? She hurried to the library where she consulted her friendly librarian who showed her how to look up journals in JCR, the Journal Citation Reports database. Together, they searched JCR for the exclusive journal of scientific endeavor and found out that, although other scholars cited its articles, they weren't scholars from our young assistant professor's field. They searched JCR for the boutique narrow subfield scientific journal. It only published a handful of articles per year. Even worse, the boutique journal ranked in the bottom 25% of journals cited in the scientific endeavor field. The winner was the top-notch Journal of Scientific Inquiry, which published fewer than average number of articles per year, but they were cited so often that JCR ranked the top-notch journal in the top 10% of journals in her field. It was perfect for the young assistant professor. She submitted her manuscript to the top-notch Journal of Scientific Endeavor. It was accepted with minor revisions. Our young assistant professor was off to a great start on her journey toward tenure and promotion. As the years passed, our young assistant professor published more articles. Helping her to choose a journal in which to publish her articles was JCR. She searched JCR, checking its journal-level metrics to determine which journals in her field of scientific endeavor had the most impact, that is, journals that her peers read and cited in their articles. She was careful to choose journals that were ranked in the top 10% in terms of numbers of citations to their published articles. The full professors in her department told her she was doing very well. One day, her department chair called her into his office and said, "You only have 2 years before the Promotion and Tenure Committee decides your fate. Are your peers citing your publications?" The professor was shocked. It's not enough just to publish? They want to know if people are citing her publications as well? Quickly, the professor ran back to the friendly librarian. "Don't worry," said the friendly librarian. "We'll look at your bibliometrics and see how you're doing." They started with Web of Science and saw that the professor was becoming known despite being so new to the field. Friendly librarian said, "Give me some names of your young assistant professor colleagues, scholars who received their PhD at about the same time in your scientific endeavor." Our young assistant professor volunteered a couple of names, the friendly librarian showed her how to compare herself to the others, and our young assistant professor was both pleased and relieved that her bibliometrics were higher than her colleagues. And so it continued for 2 more years. The young assistant professor worked day and night, researching, teaching, collaborating, and writing. One day, her chair told her to compile her promotion and tenure dossier, making sure she included evidence that people were reading her latest publications. Off she went to the library. "Don't worry," said the friendly librarian. "We can check your altmetrics in Scopus and Public Library of Science to see what people are saying about your most recent publications and how many times they've downloaded them." Together, they dug around and discovered that her latest articles were getting a lot of buzz. The assistant professor added this information to her dossier. She submitted her dossier to the Promotion and Tenure Committee. They put it under the microscope, checking everything and giving her promotion and tenure case a stamp of approval. Up went her dossier to the chair, the dean, the provost, the president, and the regents. Everyone agreed she had done her job well. She was granted tenure and crowned an associate professor. The end.